T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Trap Talk Reptile Network, the coolest reptile network in the world, episode 581. Trap Talk with none other than Socratis of AriEliMax Arboreals. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop a comment in the comment section what you're liking out of each episode. And of course, if you're looking for exclusive content, if you want to get more out of what you see, if you want to get unreleased content and whatnot, then please come join the Trap Talk Patreon family, connect to the Discord, awesome Instagram group chat, just the best way to network yourself with some of the best doing it in the reptile game. So thank you to all the love and support out there, my Patreon members, you guys are my heart. But yes, Socratis is somebody who's been a very close friend of mine throughout the last handful of years. He's helped me tremendously, not only within my reptile collection, but just in life in general. A lot of you who follow me on Instagram or just follow me with the trap know how close me and Socratis is. So to have him on the last Trap Talk of 2024 really means a lot. So without further ado, I want to bring him on because he is a man of time. This guy has a family, runs a businesses nonstop. It's one of the best dudes in the game. All right. So let's not waste any time. All right. Without further ado, here is Socratis of AriEliMax Arboreals. Let's go. Choo!
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive. Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, God love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up.
And we're live with my man, Socratis. What's up, buddy?
Let's go. Happy
Let's
holidays.
go. Happy holidays, dude.
Yeah. The last podcast of 2024. Wow.
Yeah, and you're the one bringing the heat.
It didn't hit me until you said, oh, last past podcast. I was like, I appreciate you. Very grateful for you, MJ. Thank you.
Yeah, man, definitely grateful for you. Grateful for all the content that you've been consistently putting out. I feel like once you got the ball rolling on social media, you just have not let off, man. And, you know, shout out to Ari, Snake Master Exotics. How many followers is she at now?
I think like 430 something.
So I got to say, you're very inspiring just putting out the work you've been doing, Socratis, but I know you have a lot going on with your collection and whatnot. Well, let's kind of get to like how you felt this year went for you when it comes to just the reptiles. Do you feel like you checked off a lot of boxes as far as goals, you know, and whatnot with breeding this year?
There was, I think I paired up 8 this year, or 9 actually. And I had 5 clutches, not big clutches. I had my high yellow girl, which she laid like 12 eggs, and she was laying for about 24 hours, and I knew there was something wrong. So I pulled the eggs out. They weren't really good. I think I only hatched out like 8 or 9, and I saw in her that there was something twisted inside of her. So what happened was the ova got twisted and she couldn't push out the eggs. So I had to go in there and cut. I had to cut both ovas actually, because I got one and some were coming out and then there was stuck. So I had to cut. It was a disaster.
But you're no stranger to disasters, right? I mean, I've heard stories from what you've experienced from since we've met, but do you feel like that's kind of what you expect sometimes when breeding these kind of animals, right? Like you could almost set yourself up for anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as humans, we have the hospital, and there's always things that happen that we just don't hear about, right?
Right.
And things like that. So when you are breeding this many snakes, or you have this many snakes, there are things that are gonna come up, and you just need to be prepared for everything. And you just need to be able to take a second, breathe, and ask yourself what needs to get done, and do it. And there's no hard feelings. You're breeding, and things are gonna happen.
Like what do you process? Like, for instance, I had a couple nightmares when breeding some stuff this year. I had my first female a year ago have an oviduct prolapse, and she wasn't able to recover from that. But when you have something like that happens, what goes on in your head? Like, do you try not to let it beat yourself up over it, or do you like try to find out why she did that or anything like that? What do you do?
I'm laughing because it reminds me of that time when we came back from with the Daytona show. Or where did we go? Somewhere, and then one of my females had passed away.
Fluttershy.
The time we had together. Thank you for the beautiful pictures and the videos, for making my Instagram go up. Thank you for the memory. Yeah, Fluttershy. So it happens. There's just so many. There's no way for you to. There's no reason for you to beat yourself up. It is part of the process. People get cancer. Diabetes. There's so many things. People get into car accidents. So things are gonna happen to the snakes when you have more than one snake. The possibilities, the percentage is a lot higher. So just understand that, but just also be ready. Have a good vet or Fortaz, and just know that sometimes you have to take action no matter what. And at the end of the day, as long as you did your best, or you did what you thought was right at the time, that's all you need to do.
So I have a question about Fortaz for you.
Yeah.
I've recently had a female impact a tooth, like she was pushing, and she, basically I got to get her a bigger cage, but she got a mouth rot, like she got an impacted tooth. I went to the vet and they gave me Fortaz. Speaking to other people who've gone through this, like experienced keepers, they will do other things than giving Fortaz, because they say Fortaz could be very hard on the kidneys. And I'm wondering if you ever had a snake that you treated with Fortaz and it didn't work out, or for the most part has you using Fortaz for whatever reason has worked out and you haven't had any issues. I'm just curious what you've experienced overall using Fortaz as a treatment.
Yeah. So I think the last 2 times I used Fortaz was for Rainbow Dash, who just did her ducks.
Did she survive, by the way, or no?
Oh yeah, she's fine. She's eating. Okay. She's just not going to breed. I'm not going to breed her.
She's done.
Yeah, she's done. She's just for show.
Okay. At least I got one of her babies, and she looks just like her, by the way. So I'm pretty happy about that.
I think even better.
I didn't want to say it.
You know what you posted yesterday? Yeah, no, I think you're doing good with that.
So we're saying that the Fortaz in the basin didn't work out. Can you go from there?
Yeah, and then for what I've done with the chondros, it all seemed good to me.
Okay. All right.
But let me just say, before Rainbow Dash, it's probably been like 3 years since I've used Fortast. So
Your collection is pretty closed off, right, Sock? Like you don't add stuff from what I know from the like at least the last year or two. You're not adding anything.
yeah, it's been probably 3 years, I think. The last snake that was brought in was Ethereum, which was the Bolins, which I
Right.
killed. Yeah.
Now, and the reason why I asked that is because I learned thoroughly how to nido test through you. Like you taught me that practice. When you have a collection that's closed off like yours, or that's been closed off for as long as you've had it, do you even nido test anymore? Do you have a reason to, or?
No, I still nido test. You just never know. Something can pop up, and still use both fish heads and rail. And I always nido every snake I sell. I nido test before shipping out. It's just
Right.
part of it. And then before pairing
Okay.
as well, and then
Why-
randomly.
Why do you use row and fish head? Can we talk about why you like to use both?
So I like rail because the results are, next day. But also, I've also learned that fish heads, their process, they're able to test for a lot more. They're able to test a lot more strands than Ariel. And a good person that actually knows a lot about it is Bruce. Very, very educated on that.
Bruce who?
Carpenter.
Oh, can't talk about that guy, man. Unfortunately,
What is that?
he tried suing Bill Stiegel and like a handful of people. He sent out like letters from a lawyer. It didn't work out, unfortunately.
Okay. I mean,
I know listen. I know that has nothing to do with what.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's very he knows his stuff, and I've seen his setup and how he does a lot of things, and anyway.
Awesome. Now, how do you go about? So I'm sorry, you just said you randomly test at this point. So if you have a collection like yours that's been tested, it's been a year or so. At this point, when it comes to testing, you just randomly do it, like how you feel is like whatever's necessary. Like, okay, this female.
So, yeah. Usually, whenever if let's say if I sell a snake and I have to nido a baby that I'm sending out, I'll just do one other one randomly like that, or two other ones since I'm sending in a sample. And then obviously before pairing, everyone gets nido tested before pairing.
Nice. In your practices, as far as what makes you feel like a snake is clean of nido, you need 3 tests, correct? Not just one.
Correct, 3 tests. Yep, 45 at least 45 days apart.
And you guys, a lot of people that take that, they don't like to take that information in too good, because they hear they need to test a snake. They do it, they get their test back, but then you let them know you should test again in about 90 days. And they say, well, why? Why should I test?
Yeah, because it could be dormant, could be not showing any signs, right?
So basically a swab, when you swab a snake, if it's not sick or if it's not like producing anything showing that it's sick, then it won't swab as a positive nido. Like it has to be showing symptoms, or what do you mean?
No, for the virus. The virus could be shutting out, or it could be dormant, right? Or maybe there's a little bit of stress on that snake, so then the virus elevates. There's so many different strands that are actually coming out that they're morphing as well. So you just yeah. So I mean, I've just seen too many people get wiped out with their whole collection. So why would you why risk it?
Yeah.
Obviously, people want to rush things. So
yeah, I mean, we all know what happens when you rush any of this. You find out quick what happens for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I feel like there's no shortcuts. There's no way of rushing it. I mean, you could maybe get away with some things, but eventually it catches up to you,
Yeah. And I mean, you're always learning. I'm still always learning, always, changing my ways as I go. And yeah, very busy though. So I don't spend as much time in here that I used to, but still making sure everything is clean, everything gets their water, the glasses are cleaned. Just got to take control of your time and make sure that everything is good.
I finally got my first taste of a successful clutch this year. Finally,
Yeah.
14 babies, but I got an idea, and I had an idea when I went to recently visit your collection and I saw how much shit was in all the baby tubs. And bro, every day they shit every day. It's crazy. I was at least one of them, like maybe they won't all shit, but at least one of those tubs are dirty right when you just cleaned it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Babies shit every day. So that's why I keep them over water, because it makes me check each individual tub every day.
Right.
And, fresh water for the babies every day, because hydration is a key. And again, very little water. I lost 2 babies drowning. So
yeah,
first one was
just by putting too much water in. That's it.
Yeah. So the first one that died was the one I didn't remember a couple of years ago. The one that was born with no face.
Right.
And I should have known, but when it was in the sim container, it was sleeping on the floor upside down. Right.
Wow.
Like, because I guess it didn't have eyes. Right. It just had a. So when I put it in the tub, the next day it was on the floor dead. And then recently, the one that I produced that was missing one eye, man, that was such a cool snake. And I fed it, and it went on the ground to eat, and I think it just choked in the water while it was eating.
But you normally empty the water out when you feed. I've seen you
when they're babies, correct. But as they grow, then I don't empty the water.
Got it.
My mistake.
Okay. Yeah, it happens. I mean, I remember when I was just changing your waters to be nice, I didn't realize how much water I was putting until you told me. And so I feel like it could almost happen to anybody if you're not really like careful, like barely any water they need in that tub. You know what I mean?
Really, just a little bit. But that's why I always tell people, they're like, oh, should I put water on there? And I'm like, I wouldn't recommend it.
Unless you're somebody who's on top of it. Unless you're right.
Top of it, yeah. Or if you're gonna have a lot of babies, and you wanna make sure you're constantly changing the water and stuff.
Yeah, I go through a lot of paper towels, like a lot. Like a lot. I got a question for you though, Soc. I recently had a podcast speaking to somebody about troubled or stubborn baby chondro feeders, first time feeding. And I feel like that's going to happen to anybody, right? But you recently told me how you don't deal with a lot of struggle eaters anymore. And can you elaborate on that a little bit, and how you go from okay, you're going to experience some problem feeders to now you're at the level of you set it and forget it. Like, these things are all eating great now. And how's that coming about? And, can you explain all that?
Yeah, I just think you pair your snakes good feeders. So obviously you wouldn't know if they're good feeders or not. If you're buying a baby that, I don't know, is 1 year old and they had problems starting out, but strong feeders, and just from me breeding throughout the years, I know these snakes are strong feeders. I haven't had a problem. I think the biggest clutch, my biggest problem was the first clutch I ever had. That was a disaster. Yeah. And then when I did Aru times Aru, that clutch was very difficult to start up. But then after that, it's just everything is they eat. And I don't stress it. If a baby doesn't eat the first time, I'm sure it's going to eat the second or third week.
So what has changed with your approach when feeding? Let's say you have a nice clutch all separated in the rack. When do you like to approach feeding?
So what I do is I keep all the babies in the incubator until they shed. So they all shed. Once they all shed, I'll put them in individual racks, and I'll probably wait 2 weeks before I even try to feed. I just let, because they have all that yolk that they just had from the egg, so they're pretty full. So I'll leave them in the tubs for about 2 weeks, and then I'll empty out all the water, and I'll use chicked out, and I just go very gently, and I tickle their nose. I just keep tickling until they wake up and they get alert. There's no aggressiveness in there, and then it's just tickling their bodies and tapping on their nose very gently. And 99%, there might be one in a clutch that might not want to eat. All right, next week, figure it out.
And then at what point do you look at a snake and say, okay, you're not eating, like we got to do something? And what is it that you do? Like if you happen to run into that one neonate that is just isn't eating.
Yeah, if the second time they don't eat, and then the third time I try again, it doesn't eat, I'll just give it a head, and I'll just start giving it heads. I'll just put the head in the mouth. I'll take the perch out. I'll just put the head in their mouth, and they'll be on the floor, so there's no way they can spit it out.
Yeah.
And the tub, and 2 minutes later, they'll swallow the head. So it's teaching them how to swallow. And then again, the next week I'll offer. If they don't take, I'll offer them a head. I'll give them a head again, and they'll come around.
Okay, so the assist feeding is something that you just keep doing if they're refusing to eat. Like it's something where, okay, you're still not trying to. Because I got some people who like to keep it frequent on the assisted feeding. Once you put something down their stomach,
Yeah, no, it's not. I don't even think it's assist feeding because I'm not forcing anything down their mouth, down their throat. I'm just putting the head in their mouth and letting the snake do the rest.
Yeah, but some neos don't allow that. I gotta tell you, some neos, like you literally have to grab them by the back of the head, and you
you can grab them, right, to put the head in the mouth.
Yeah,
but it's a dry head. You don't want to put like a wet head because then it's easy for them to spit it out.
Yeah.
So like dry head, and it sticks to their mouth, and then the only thing they have to do left is to swallow it. Unless you have a perch. If you have a perch, they'll just look down and drop it.
As of now, what do you like to feed your adult female green tree pythons?
Oh, rats.
And is it food cycling that you do, like, or do you just feed scheduled throughout the whole time? Like, what's worked for you, Sock?
Feed once a month.
That's it. Once a month. Always. You don't change the size of the meal or anything. It's once a month, always. Same size.
Once a month. For adults, yeah.
Same with your males?
Yep, with my males too. Once a month, and they'll either get like a mouse or a whatever is like 35 grams.
How do you like to feed a breeder? Like you have a breeder male and he's just going to work. Like he's just fucking doing the job, right? Do you feed that male? Are you making sure that male's eating, or do you just let him do his thing and then when he's done, you feed him? Like what has worked for you as far as feeding a breeder male right in the prime during breeding season?
I always feed. What I'll do is I'll take the male out and I'll feed him and I'll feed the female. And as soon as they're done, I'll put the male back in and he'll go back to breeding the same night.
Same night. So same night they fed, you put them right back in. There's no waiting.
Yeah. Well, I don't put them at night. I feed during the day. So you don't want to throw in a snake in another snake's cage at night.
Yeah, definitely not. For sure you don't want to do that. I learned that the hard way one time. Awesome. And since we're on the topic of production right now, you have some heavy goals, not next year but the year after, 2026. But before we get to that, you said you had 8 clutches. I'm sorry, how many clutches? 5 clutches this year.
Yeah.
So what's the plan going into next year? How many pairings are you looking at? What are you looking to do next year?
Yeah, right now I have 3 that are paired right now that I've been pairing for a couple months, and I'm going to keep those paired, and I will probably start pairing right before the end of 2025. I think September I'll start pairing, so I can start having clutches hatching in the beginning of the year.
So the way you pair your stuff, you pair in the fall, end of summer?
No, I pair whenever, but I'm saying
okay,
a break. That way I can get everybody in for 2026, except for the 3 that are paired right now.
I'm sorry. How many pairings are you looking at this coming year?
No, just these three. If they go, they're going for 2025. I'm not
That's
pairing
it.
in. Yeah,
Oh, God.
then I'll wait until September of 2025, and I'll start, which is different because usually I'm pairing throughout the year.
To your goals, you know, in a year from now, like what are you? What is that still your mission to hit 30 clutches?
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have. I think I'm only gonna have like 27 females that are gonna be ready.
Damn.
So we'll see what happens. So maybe we're gonna have to go into 2027. But I do have a lot of females that I kept back. So in 2027, I'll have like 40 something females that I can potentially pair up. So we'll see.
Do you have the males to match that ratio?
Yeah, I got males.
Damn.
I got males.
Now with pairings like this, like how much thought is even?
I got some males.
Say it again.
Some good looking males.
I bet you do. No, I know. I was gonna say something. I forgot.
Planning.
I forgot. I
How am I planning my pairings?
Oh yeah. So okay. So when you have this amount of pairings going, like, what's your like? Are you literally thinking out what pairing should go to what, or are you just fucking throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks?
No, yeah, I've thought it out. Especially now with like the blue line, but I love my high yellows, and I have a lot of high yellow females as well. So that's something that I'm going to be working on.
How do we get that black in there, man? Like, one thing I love about your stuff, Sock, is you got the high yellow stuff, but you got stuff with high black in it too, which is just, that's my cup of tea. I love that shit. I think the snake you just recently posted, that male, oh my God, you know, but how does somebody get more black in that in a designer snake, like from what you've seen?
How does somebody get more black? You just got to have that old blue blood. Carolina, Mr. Blue.
Right.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to pick up that trio from David D. And you know, those carry a lot of black.
So what's the dream green tree python look to you? Like, what's if you could picture out the best production ever from your collection, from your animals, what would that snake even look like? I'm curious.
I don't know. I mean, for blue line, I think, you know, the manifester, I think is probably one of the I've ever seen in my life. It's literally black and blue. You know, I've seen a lot of snakes that have a lot of black but are green, or like the one that I posted yesterday, Halloween, which is black and kind of orangey type.
Right.
But just to have that black and blue, especially out in the sun, that thing is just insane.
Yeah, this is definitely probably one of the most impressive snakes I've ever seen. Now it is. This is the most impressive snake I've ever seen in my life. What's the age of this snake?
He's
2
going on 3.
And not breeding yet, or has he been breeding for you yet?
No, I haven't paired him up yet, but he will be paired up soon, next year.
Okay, I'm glad I remembered, because people don't believe me sometimes when I say like the success you've gotten from young males, Sock, and I want you to, you know, give us your take on pairing up young males and having success with that.
Yeah, the last clutch that I did with Amy Rose and Lime he was 2 years old at the time. Yeah. I mean, if they're shedding plugs, you know,
then you feel
yeah, absolutely. If they're shedding plugs and you visually see it, then why not pair them up? You can pair it up. I mean, females, I wait till they're 4 years old.
Right. So Manifester hasn't shed out any plugs yet?
Not yet.
But if you see those plugs, it's on then, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think the next shed he's probably gonna, because his sibling. Oh, he's under He just ate. He's under the anyway. The other one shed plugs. Oh, and the manifester. I don't know if it's a male. I'm assuming it's a male. Could be a female, but I don't think it's a female from the way it looks.
Wow. All right. Before we get into the whole topic of mental health and what's been, as far as like what's been changing in your life with a lot of things, overall, like what would you say? Like, what's your biggest goal for next year? You would say going into snake breeding wise,
Oh, snake breeding wise, next year it's just hopefully these 3 pairings that I have paired up, they go because they're big pairings. A lot of great blood in there. I'll be excited. Probably the best pairings I've done so far. So that, and then just preparing for 2026.
Awesome, man. So what's been taking so much time of your life this year, other than the snakes? Obviously, you even said you're not spending as much time as you once were in your snake room. So what's been pushing your limits? Like what is it that's motivating you every day? What's your mission that you've been doing in life lately? Let's talk to it. Let's talk about it.
Me every day is my family, my kids, trying to just raise good humans. And, like my goal is to have an extraordinary family. And I want my family, like as a unit, like myself, my wife, my kids, being able to help and teach other families about financial literacy and also about how to become that best version of yourself, right? So this is who we're capable, this is who we are being, and this is who we're capable of being. And then how can we close that gap every day? And obviously, there's no perfect human, and we all mess up and we all make mistakes. But instead of beating yourself up, how can you learn from it and grow from it? And learning about financial literacy, something that I was never taught. My father never taught me. I moved to the United States when I was 6 years old. Didn't speak any English. I was left back in first grade. My teachers told me that I was stupid. That the school system had me believing that I didn't have what it took to be great. And I moved from a different school every year. From first grade to the 6th grade, I was in a different school. We were just moving from city back to Cyprus, back to the States, to a different city. I just didn't believe. I don't think I believed in myself. My dad taught me how to work hard and be honest. But let's be honest, we should all work hard and be honest, right? He didn't give me the tools that were necessary for me to believe in myself. And it wasn't his fault. It's just what his dad taught him, right? Yeah. And then as I was growing up, and then I had a big awakening, I just started pouring self-development in me and finding out about financial literacy. Because you could be making $1 million a month, but let's say something happens to your job and now you're not making that money, and all of a sudden, boom, your whole world. Doesn't matter how much money you're making before. If you're accustomed to a certain way of living and something happens and you don't have your money working for you, you're not going to survive. I don't care how rich you are. So just learning about money, and the biggest thing is being able to unlearn what you've learned so you can relearn the new ways of financial literacy, how to be that best version of yourself, right?
Yeah. I mean, let's think about how many celebrities who've had millions that are just dead broke now. You know what I mean? I couldn't believe the list that I've seen, and just even some celebrities that I once watched on TV, like homeless in the streets. Like you would never think that, right? But it's that whole being accustomed of living a life that maybe is well out of your means, but since you have that money, you feel comfortable doing it. But what happens when that income stops? Like, are you able to adjust? And a lot of people don't know how to adjust. Like they don't. They crumble, and it's sad to see.
I don't know if you remember when we did the workshop. Remember when we did the workshop and I told you there's 2 ways to make money. Do you remember?
Yes, I think so. Tell me. No, I can't remember. Tell me.
People at work and money at work, right? People got to trade your time for money, right? And money at work. Your money is working for you. And a lot of people don't understand that, yes, at first you have to trade your time for money. You have to trade your time for money so you can make money to invest. But to create true wealth, right, financial freedom, you have to pay yourself first, always, no matter what. So
Yeah.
get a, you know, but I have this and this and this. It doesn't matter. You got to make it a habit, even if it's taking $5. Whenever somebody gives you some type of money or you're getting paid, you got to take some money and pay yourself first, and take that money and put it somewhere where you get enough where you can invest either back into yourself or into something that is going to start making you money while you're asleep. And until you start paying yourself first, you're never going to have financial freedom. It's the number one thing. And I used to, even though I learned it, I also put it off. But I'm like, oh, I got to pay this and I got to pay that. Why would you pay the government? Why would you pay your taxes? Why would you pay your credit card first? Right? They're the ones that are making that the most money off of you with that 30% interest, right? And then I remember Grant Cardone also said, until you're making $250,000 a year, you should be taking all that money and investing in yourself. Because when you invest in yourself, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a life coach, whether it's a seminar, right? You are learning, you're investing, and you're learning something that nobody's ever going to take from you. And you should be able to take whatever you've learned and go and use it and create more money, right? Money is currency. It's supposed to
Be current.
use, right? So invest in yourself, believe in yourself. And that's something that I truly believe in. And everything is energy. It's all about your energy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with self-confidence from what I've seen. And I've obviously been a huge fan of getting out there, like making your life harder by doing workouts and stuff like that. But some people feel like they are not even in the mental state of even going to go physically go work out. And I'm wondering how you advise anyone out there who's struggling that much mentally, where they feel like they can't even go physically go do something.
Yeah, well, it's self-efficacy. It's believing in yourself, right? And it's about, you can't say I'm going to go work out for an hour when you've never worked out before, right? So this is also when you invest in yourself and you're learning about habit stacking and how to. And we even talked about this in the workshop. We talked about habit stacking, right? Make it easy. Make it easy, right? So if I'm gonna go work out, I'm gonna make it easy. So when I wake up, I have my shoes and my clothes already ready. So when I wake up, boom, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have to say I'm gonna work out for an hour. I'm gonna work out for 5 minutes. I'm gonna do 3 push-ups. And then when you do it, you celebrate it, right? And it's little incremental things. Working out for 5 minutes is better than not working out at all. And then you're creating a habit. And then all of a sudden, that habit's going to get better. Well, I'm already doing 5 push-ups. Why can't I do 15? I'm already walking 1 time around the block. Why don't I walk around the block 4 times? You're just creating that habit, but you want to make it as easy as possible so there's no way you can fail, right? I'm not going to meditate an hour. I'm not going to start that way. Let's say 5 minutes, or let's say 1 minute. Just make it stupid easy. Right. And you just create that habit.
What about food? Like, don't you feel like there's certain foods people are eating that just make their mental state all fucked up and just not really thinking straight because of like their habits of food? Because I know I've come from a place where I used to rely on food for comfort, and I used to just eat. I love eating. I still love eating, right? But I know that there's certain things that get me depressed. Like, I know there's certain foods out there that they taste good, but after I'm full eating it, I'm like depressed.
Yeah. So sugar is the number one. More sugar you eat, the more depressed you're gonna get. And I remember that time when we were, where did we go? And you were eating with Mark.
Oh, Applebee's.
Like 10 o'clock at night. And I don't know.
You're staring at me. We were pigging out. We got the sampler platter. Oh my God, we had all this shit, and you're just like,
yeah. And you're like, you're looking at me because you're jealous that I'm eating all this stuff, and I was like, no, I'm looking on this because the things I'm telling you right now, all these big corporations, they are killing you slowly.
Yeah.
You're eating this food with all these dyes and all these seed oils, and just because you don't know, and you're not going to die now. You're going to die 40, 50 years from now from cancer, from colon cancer, from whatever is going to pop up because of all this processed food. So this is what we're going to also talk about is learning about what are foods, right? What's organic, what's fine fed, all these little things. So you're able to make the right decision. And what time should I stop eating and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff. So it all comes, you don't think of this stuff until you get older. As the age starts hitting you and your body stops, like, accepting some of the stuff that you're eating, you have no choice but to think of all this stuff. And everything Soc is saying, the sugar intake, the time you're eating at, first and foremost, right? Like, I was a big believer, well, not believer, but I was comfortable with eating and going straight to bed. And I can't do that no more. I really can't. Like, I feel better eating hours before I go to bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And meaning I feel better the next day. I don't wake up like groggy. I don't wake up like dragging my feet, and I'm feeling better as far as like digestive goes,
It's a question that you have to ask yourself. Is this thing going to benefit me or my future self or not? My tomorrow self, my 5-year self, my 20-year self, right? The reason why you don't want to eat through, and you don't need to, if you're eating right before bed, why don't you try 30 minutes and then go to 45 minutes and then a week later go to an hour. But when you eat an hour before bed or right before bed, your body, it takes time to digest that food. So you're not sleeping. You might be sleeping, but your body's not resting. It's working to break down that food. And then not only that, you're laying sideways. So do you think your food's adjusting? No, that's why if you monitor your breath, your heart rate, you'll see that when you eat right before bed, all that stuff is through the roof because your body is working. It's not resting. And when you go to sleep, that's when your body needs to rest. That's when your mitochondria needs to go up through the roof. Mitochondria is your life force, your energy, and what makes you think, move, jump, scream, right? So the older we get, the more things we do, your mitochondria goes way down. And then that's how you start getting all these chronic diseases. And again, it's most people are not educated. The system didn't educate us on these things. This is something that, like I said, I want my family to go out and teach other families about.
I mean, you do got people maybe hearing about this stuff now, but they still choose to do the other way, because it's easier. Like it's easier to do something you're used to doing versus like having to figure out a new diet plan and a whole new way to eat. Because think about it. Some people just want to eat because it's like they think of something easy, right? Something like they don't have to put much thought into it. And I know it becomes easier once you start putting the effort into eating cleaner, but a lot of people don't know how to start from going from McDonald's to now I meal prep and I eat clean at home, and I do it to where I'm not getting sick of it. Because some people try to like go cold turkey and that doesn't work out. Like it works like about a week and then they go right back to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I said, and it's all with your habits.
Stacking.
Yeah, and making it easy, super easy, super simple. You don't need to go completely 180. Just here's the thing. What's the number one thing that if you take out of your diet, you're going to be healthier, right? What's the number one thing that is probably killing you? Is it soda or, is it the seed oils, whatever it is, and try to eliminate that one thing first. And do that for a week or two, and then eliminate something else, and you'll see that how you feel, right? And the biggest thing is parents that feed their kids on this Western diet, which is cereal, right? It's literally sugar with grains. You need protein and you need fats. So have your kids go to school eating cereal or Pop-Tarts or whatever they do, and ask them how they feel when they get back from school. And then give them eggs and give them some turkey bacon and give them some avocado and give them some fruit. And then have them ask them, how do you feel? How did you feel in school throughout the day? And you'll see it's a big difference.
I mean, growing up, I'll never forget how tired I was the whole time in school. Like elementary school, always tired. Like always tired. Mind you, I don't think our parents knew back then, right? But like I went through a lot of like groggy mind stages in school because I just didn't want to be there. Super tired. I had no interest whatsoever. And and then I have stuff like, for instance, like with my day-to-day, I don't have time to take naps. I don't have time to go relax and chill. I have to get through my day. You know what I mean? And all that relies on what I put into my body. Like I'm noticing once I fucking eat cleaner and do it right, I could go a whole day without taking a nap and be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. If you eat all that stuff in the morning, the bagels, the cream cheese, and the cereal, you're gonna get the sugar rush, and then you're gonna come crashing down hard. And
Yeah.
that's what happens. And then that's why they ADHD and they can't concentrate in school. Change the diet. Learn about diet. Learn about food. Learn about real food, organic food, clean food instead of all these processed, genetically modified. I mean, if it's in a box, right, it doesn't go bad for 3-4 months. It's not good for you.
Yeah, you got a lot of people who think mental health could be resolved with like medicine and taking pills, but it's really the lifestyle. Like, if we really think about it, a lot of this shit could be fixed if we change our diet, we work out, we write down some goals. Like, all this fixes mental health. I feel like I'm a fucking clear example from it. I know I'm not fully healed, but I've come a long ways. Like, you've seen what kind of work I was 4.5 years ago.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And now, I see you're walking or running in the morning with the sun coming up.
I just climbed a mountain before this episode, just so you know.
Yeah. But that's it. Eating, breathing, sleeping, moving. You need those. Those are the fundamentals of life.
Right.
Sleeping is number one.
Right.
You got to recharge your body. So, and then how do you prep yourself so you get the optimal sleep? Most people think, oh, I don't have enough time. Oh, I'm just going to sleep less because I got more things to do. If you get the amount of sleep, you will have so much more energy throughout the day that you can get more things done in less time because you're focused, right? Yep. Even with losing weight, if you get the right amount of sleep, you'll lose weight because you're sleeping correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And also too, going back to like letting your body work when it needs to work. When you're going to bed and you don't have a bunch of food in your stomach, I mean, a lot of that stuff's being burnt off before you go to bed, Yeah. And one thing I want to talk about also, Socrates, that helped me a lot, but I feel like when I share this piece of advice to people, they don't know where to start either. And that's writing stuff down. Like I'm a huge believer in if you have goals in life, write those goals down, write some affirmations down. And that I've done, but I feel like some people don't know how to start. They don't even know what to even put down. It's like an awkward thing for them. Right. So, what's your advice for someone out there who maybe isn't too sure about writing stuff down or just doesn't understand the power of writing stuff down? Can we talk about that real quick?
Yeah, so writing things down is very, very powerful because you can think a lot of things, but you forget things. But when you take time for yourself, whether it's 10, 15 minutes, and you can just write down your thoughts or your problems. The only way to solve a problem is to write it down. Once you write it down, you're able to come up with whatever solution it is. And it's different because you are writing it. For your goals, it's very simple. Just pick 3 goals. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. 3 goals that you want, and you write them down. It could be 2 words or 2 sentences for each goal.
Are we talking like daily goals, weekly goals for the month? Like, give people an example. Like, how far out should your goals be?
Yeah, well, you definitely need your 10 or 20-year goal, right?
Yeah,
and it's
long term.
You shouldn't even have you shouldn't even know how you're gonna do it. It should scare you. It should be like, there's no way that, like, how am I even gonna do it? But when you write it down, right, you are putting into your subconscious, and now you're creating that energy, and it's moving you towards that goal. Whatever it is, it's bringing you closer because you keep writing it down. Whatever that goal is, right? It could be your daily goal. I have a card where I write my tasks. What's the 5 most important things that I need to get done today, right? And then I cross it out, and I go from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if I only get 3 done that day, then those last 2 go to number 1 the next day. I write my goals down every morning, every night, and I also have my alarm set on my phone every hour. My alarm hits, and I say all my goals inside my head. So I'm just constantly putting it in myself. So you have the law of attraction, right? Your track. You have the law of affirmation. You have all these affirmations that you're saying, but none of it is going to happen without the law of action. You have to take action. Without action, there's nothing. You have to take action. I can say all my affirmations, but if I'm just sitting in my house doing nothing, nothing is gonna happen. You have to go out there. You need people. You need your network, right? They say your net worth is your network.
Yeah,
So
100%.
before you're out there, go out there, meet people, and create connections, because all it is, it's not about money, it is about connections, it's about possibilities, and all it is you meeting that one person that's going to completely change the course of your life. Might
Yeah.
not be a moment, right? It could be 3 years from now, it could be 2 months from now, it could be whatever it is, but go out there and meet people.
That's such a huge part of what we do in life. I feel like without the people, right, meeting those right people, how do you ever expect to kind of paint that picture on where you're going to be headed next, right? Because I love the snakes. I used to be very I just care about the reptiles, I don't care about people, but that's not true. Like, the reptiles brought you into my life, brought Barchek into my life, Mark Bailey, the list goes on, right? Some of the best people I've ever met came through the reptile world. But you got to get yourself out there, and I've seen you doing that. I see you going to Arizona, you go to Texas. So why don't we talk about how that's changed your life, you actually putting yourself out there in those situations there, Sock?
Yeah, so those are like workshops
Right.
and seminars. So I try to go to at least 6 workshops or seminars a year. That's for self-development, and also meeting new people and networking, right? I always try to read at least 60 books a year, or listen to them on audio. I do listen to a lot of audiobooks, and it's just about always, leveling up, leveling up, leveling up. Um, but yeah, you should always be learning, always trying to improve, right?
Wrap up topic for you, okay, before I let you go. Anyone out there who feels like they're the victim, I feel bad for people who act like the victim. But you meet some people who feel like they never have good luck, they never feel like anything goes their way. And they've been like that their whole lives, I feel like. So what would you advise anyone out there who feels like they get really shitty luck in life, they don't ever
Yeah.
really get like good opportunities, any of that? Like, what do you have to say to the victims out there?
Yeah, so they just don't understand. Everyone, every single person on this planet has what it takes to be great, to be extraordinary. Everyone listening to this,
Yeah.
and you need to accept radical responsibility of what's happening. You have to take full responsibility of where you are in your point of your life. And then you have to ask yourself, what needs to be done? Like, what's important now? What is important right now? And write that down. Once you figure out what is important, and figure out how to get it done, and you have to go do it. And you have to have that intense trust in yourself. And the only way you have that trust in yourself is by doing the things you say you're going to do, having that integrity, because someone is always watching.
Yeah.
You're watching. So if you're trying to lose weight, and then you say, all right, I'm starting this new diet on Monday, and then Monday night comes and you're in the cabinet, nobody sees you, right? But who's seeing you? Yourself.
Yourself, yeah.
So how can you trust yourself? So when you do the things you say you're going to do, now you start having this intense trust in yourself. And it's not that life is going to be perfect. It's not. There's always going to be things that are going to come up. Always. No matter how successful you get, no matter how much money you get, there's always going to be times where just shit hits and you're a disaster almost, right? But because you do the things you say you're going to do, you have that intense trust in yourself. Not that life is going to be perfect, but you know that you're going to keep going and you're going to figure it out. And as long as you don't give up, you're going to get to that next step. And then you're going to figure out, you're going to go as far as you can until you can't see anymore. And once you get there, you're going to see how you can go further. Right?
Yeah.
And you're taking one step forward, one step forward. So, I always say it's about that 360 abundance. It's not just about, most people think that it's about money. And once I
Right.
get this, yes, money is great, and you need money to live, to survive, to have a good time. And the more money you have, the more you can actually express your authentic self,
Right.
right? Dressing whichever way you want and acting silly or whatever it is, helping people with that. But 360 experience of abundance is I'm abundant in my relationships. I'm abundant in my health. I'm abundant in my spirituality. And so it's being able to be happy in all the areas of your life. And now you're living an extraordinary life because you're so abundant in every portion. A lot of people are maybe abundant in just their relationships, but they have money problems, or they have a lot of money, but their relationship sucks, or they have a lot of money and they're not healthy. Ask any person who's sick, would they rather have the money or would they rather have the health? So
Yeah.
expressing gratitude, just sit there and express gratitude for the little things, and you'll see how instantly your mood will change no matter what. And then it's
Yeah.
just about every day, day one, every day. It's day one, every day. Get up, be grateful, and go out there and take action. Take action, take action.
Yeah. I think just being happy for what it is the most important thing, Sock, like, and having gratitude without times being bad. Like, be thankful even when times are great. Like, don't stop being grateful. I feel a lot of people resort to showing gratitude when things are really tough in their life. And I don't think you should wait for that. I think you should always show gratitude. You should always be thankful when times are good or bad, because things could change in a heartbeat. And I do want to say one of the last things to everything that you just said today on this episode. What does it matter without consistency? How important is consistency, Sock?
Yeah, consistency is everything. Everything. I can't stress it enough. It is. It's the habits or the standards that you do every day that might seem mundane, right? You
Right.
might think, but it's those habits, that consistency every day, that's going to make you become a better version of yourself.
Yep.
So invest in yourself, in your time. Those little things like waking up, taking time for yourself to breathe or meditate or journal or write your goals down. It sets the foundation for who you are. And the prime example is with the Instagram, like on my Snake channel or Ari, is just the reason why there's so many followers is because no matter what, I was consistent. I post every day, every day, every day, every day, even when I don't. And that's when it matters the most. Do the things you don't feel like doing. When you don't feel like doing them, that's when you're supposed to do them. That's when it counts,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Not just you feel great and you're working out. Oh, great. Well, what about when you feel like shit, right? You're like, I don't want to go there. That's when you go do it, and that's what makes a difference. Do hard things, and life will be easy.
Yep. Especially when you don't feel like doing it. I feel like that's the most important thing because I feel like people get on a good roll working out, but then they have that morning where they're like, I don't want to do it, right? And then next
Yeah.
that next feeling happens again. I don't want to do it, and then you don't do it, and the next you're not doing it. It all stops.
Yeah.
But life, you got to find a way to keep doing it. You have to.
Yeah. Miss a day is okay. Miss 2 days, then it becomes a habit, and then you've fallen off the track.
Yeah.
So yeah. And everyone is different. You got to figure out what works for you, and get out there and do what works best for you. Again, there's no right way. There's only your way. So what way is your way? Figure it out. But like I the the movement, the exercising, whether it's playing pickleball or basketball or walking, your physiology drives your psychology. Most people think it's psychology. Oh, I'm lazy. No, you feel lazy because you're sitting on the couch binging on Netflix, eating popcorn and ice cream, right? If you would just go out and move your body, you will feel like one of the quickest ways to feel great as well. Just go move your body.
Yeah, 100%. And, a lot of this stuff that we're saying, it doesn't happen overnight too. I feel like, when you have your days where you're not happy or you're not motivated, you got to find that trigger that makes you motivated. Like your trigger, from what it seems like, Sock, is your family. Like that's your biggest trigger motivation when you go deep, deep, deep down in your soul and what it is that wakes you up every day. It's your family. And,
Yep.
Not everyone has family, it's unfortunate, but that's just the way life is. But you do have it within yourself, and you just got to find that trigger. You got to find whatever it is, that purpose, It's another thing too, Sock. Like some people, they might have a good job, their finances are okay, but they don't feel like they have a purpose. How can someone find a purpose out there? Oh boy, he's staring at me. This is getting serious. I hope I didn't did I offend him?
You want me to exit out?
No, hold on. Maybe it's gonna fix itself.
You
Yeah,
want me to exit out?
yeah, exit out and come back in. Yeah, we're almost done. Come right back in.
Oh, man.
that was funny because I asked him the question. He's just like, I'm like, my bad. No, listen, we're almost done here, guys. I wanted to keep it an hour for Sock. Holidays, he has a lot going on. We're at that hour mark, so we're gonna be wrapping things up soon. Can we get the likes up, please? If you enjoyed this episode, if you thought this episode was quite the way to end of 2024, then please get the likes up right now. Shout out to everyone in the chat. You guys are beautiful. Okay. And again, don't forget to drop the comment in the comment section. Let me know what you're liking best out of this episode. But we're about finished here. I'll let Sock say his final statements on everything, and then we'll close off this amazing podcast. But yeah, it's been an amazing 2024. I will say I'm really looking forward to next year for sure, because definitely got a lot of plans for next year. As you guys know, that the network, Trap Talk Reptile Network, is 7 days a week, and we have not missed a step since launching 7 days a week. So, a lot of stuff to roll into next year for sure. So, all right, Sock, where are you at? Let's go.
I said it wasn't loading.
All right, no worries. What were we saying? All right, listen, let's just wrap this up. Sock, you got a lot of people out there like myself who are a huge fan of your work. So what do you have to say to all your love and support out there, man? Anyone out there who's been following you, inspired by your work? What do you have to say to everyone out there?
Yep, I appreciate everyone that puts their trust in me and follows me and shows me support. And I just want you to be the best version of yourself. So just get out there and do hard things, even if it scares you. And yeah, that's it.
Where can people follow you at, Sock?
AriEliMax Arboreals, My Philosophy with Socratis, Snake Master Exotics, 007 Maximus. Let's go.
Yeah, I love that. I love your family, man. A huge fan of everything, like I said. And you guys will definitely be seeing Sock some point next year. Sock, we were talking about networking and getting your faces out there with people. Could we potentially see you at Trap Fest in June this coming year, maybe?
Yes, sir.
I've been begging you to come to Trap Fest for 3 years now. So please make this happen. I beg you.
Let's go. It's in the calendar.
All right, let's go, guys. Go give him a follow. Check all the links in the description below. But give it up. It's a wrap from my man, Sock. AriEliMax Arboreals. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up.
Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
Happy holidays. Dude, yes. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. My dog. Love you, bro. Thank you so much.
Love you.
Peace. Great episode, guys. Thanks for hanging tight on the connections. I'm not going to edit this. I'm going to let this roll out just like a live. But yeah, guys, please go check out Socratis, AriEliMax Arboreal on Instagram. Check out his daughter's page, Snake Master Exotics, and his son, 007 Maximus. Beautiful family. Really, really dedicated to just being awesome humans in this world. So very inspiring stuff. And again, thank you to all the support this year, guys. It really means a lot. Having you guys continue to show up, watch all my episodes, and watch my other episodes that I have with other people running the show. It really means a lot. So thank you for all the support out there. And if you do want to support this further than just watching, please come join the Trap Talk Patreon family. You can do that by clicking the very first link in the description below. I'll connect you to the Discord and the awesome Instagram group chat. But guys, do me a favor. Enjoy the rest of your year. Have a great rest of 2024. 2025 is going to be a big year. Best believe that, okay? You need to believe in that right now, but that's all I have this year, it's a wrap. 2024, you were beautiful, but that's a wrap for episode 581. Socrates, AriEliMax, Arboreals in the books. I'll see you here January 6th, 2025, and I'm out.